right. Well, Brandon, that was super interesting. Thank you very much. And we want to discuss 420 because, of course, the fun, great cannabis holiday is right around the corner. So let's discuss 420 and what it means to you, Josh. What do you think of when you think of 420 or hear 420?
Man, 420 was a big deal for a long time. I hit up 20 stores on 420 for 6 years in a row just to kind of get an idea of what the industry was doing. So it kind of told me after a while that the 420 prices, the sales that we're seeing, crazy discounts, ended up being the everyday price 2 years later. Um, but then, COVID destroyed that pretty much. Everybody was offering discounts, 20, 30% off. And so obviously, Hemp Fest went away. There's a lot of events that went away. I'm in the Northwest, so we've been around 10 years and we don't have anything. So I have to go to Canada, like CanaCon, for example, popular in Oklahoma, but like they don't even operate in the state that they were founded in because Washington and Oregon are just kind of over it, I guess. I don't know. Businesses are too busy and too broke to participate. So for me, 420, I was actually thinking this year, maybe I'll go up to Vancouver, BC. It's three hours away. Maybe I'll go and check out what that is because they still have something going on. There's nowhere else I could go outside of California to participate in 420. But I don't think it's the biggest sales day of the year anymore, which is something we could talk about too, because that's normalization, right? When we see like Green Friday before Thanksgiving or New Year's Eve being bigger days than 420, that says a lot. Which is also sad that you can't get people off their couch for more than or for less than 30% off, myself included.
No, I feel the same way. And yeah, I agree. The 420 sales used to be amazing, even in glass, like the head shops and stuff to go around to them and the glass shops. I mean, they still run the specials, but it's basically the specials are still like everyday prices. And yeah, they run some better specials, but it wasn't like it used to be 420. I remember, and this is going back some years, but I'll never forget the Cypress Hill album came out on a 420 Temples of Boom, and that was awesome. I was still in high school, and my dad actually went and got two copies, one for me and one for my neighbor, and we couldn't wait to get home and smoke and listen to it, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
And they were the times back then. And yeah, now 420, I mean, it's a good time. They have big festivals and sessions, and people obviously party, but like you said, it's not the biggest sales year sales point of the year for
Mhm.
cannabis. And yeah, New Year's Eve, I mean, the lines are around the block when you see a dispensary. It's crazy how much they're
Yeah.
selling for that day. And 420 used to be the greatest. And I mean, I still, if the clock hits 420, I'm blazing. But yeah, the date and the time and everything, it's obviously we're gonna smoke, but it isn't the same that it used to be. I agree.
I think it rolls more with an MMJ market. So if you're in a medical marijuana market, it's new, it's exciting. You have lots of events, you have lots of things going on, and then you become a recreational or adult use state, and then things like normalize. So it's it- there's less people willing to go out because they've been there, done that. They don't want to do it again. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't done right. It was what we call a shit show, or a dirt show that's just not worth going to. So there's all those other reasons as well. It's gotta be worth your time. But I would say though, like a place like Missouri that still has, it's new, it's emerging, their sales are strong. Enjoy it while you can. Get out there, meet people, because it's like this is the new thing. A lot, like 80+% of those people are going to be gone in a couple of years because they just can't figure it out. But it's new and exciting. So yeah, I'm kind of jealous. Go out there and enjoy that scene because it's not gonna really be around very long um, in the current state that it's in. There'll be like this middle point, I think, where I'm at is grocery deserts. So like you got to go like miles away for a grocery store in either direction where I'm at by the airport. Apparently, people don't go to grocery stores by SeaTac. And I think you're going to have the same thing where there's like this time frame desert in the cannabis industry where like it's really, really cool during medical marijuana market days. And then when you have adult use, there's a lot of stuff that lags in between there. Like when Canada had their 1.0 and 2.0, there was a lot of stuff missing from that market. And in Washington, 10 years, we have a felony on cannabis cafes. And so we're missing out on all of that. So I think as a result, of not having a cannabis cafe in all of these places is the lack of cool little tools and accessories. So yeah, there's all these vaporizers and these units are selling because they're hundreds of dollars, and so investors are like, hell yeah, but they don't really want to invent the new toker poker, which a lot of people use, like these little cool gadgets. So I think the gadgets need, especially like with AI, like I just made an AI picture of Mona Lisa smoking a joint. I mean, it was terrible. So there's always going to be a market for human people because she was smoking a joint backwards, which is even perfect because it's super stony. She's like inhaling the smoke instead of inhaling from the joint. But I don't know where I was going with that. But I guess there's opportunities out there to kind of create stuff where people want to come to, and that I think the cannabis cafe is like that window into the soul of the community that I keep mentioning. And when you normalize it, you take the stigma away, and it's just boring. Like, oh, there's no excitement here. It was all hype all to begin with. So as soon as we can get that, you know, all of these rules and laws that I've covered for Washington, trying to overturn this Class C felony on maintaining and operating cannabis lounge, all these other places like Nevada that I'm going to have a tour for MJ BizCon to go to a bunch of cannabis lounges and do that. So we'll get some sponsorships, and Jimmy will be on the bus, and we'll be hanging out. So join us, because I think it's something to experience when you can go and you see what all these people are offering, and it is just kind of a normalization tour to go and just see how mundane it really is. And it's gonna have NIMBYs, the not in my backyard crew, are like, no, you can't do that. But once they see it, they're like, oh, taxes and no problems. Let's get rid of the bars and let's bring more of those in.
Yeah, and Missouri, like you're saying, it's just a new market, and they're just blowing it up. The regulations they seem to have on the right track right now in the beginning, because it seems like it's a pretty open market, and people are allowed to kind of run a business, and so it seems to be thriving. And yeah, they're having this huge festival. It's a block long with consumption lounges. I mean, that's a party you want to be attending because you don't know how many there are going to be in the future. And it's just like could be a one in a lifetime event that you get to go and be a part of it. And they're just so much fun to be a part of. I always say when I go out west, I hop off the plane and rent the car and I just go dispensary hopping. I mean, I literally hit every dispensary that I'm driving by and stop in and buy something from every one of them and talk to the people and just see what products they have and what's going on. And the trends and everything. That's how you keep up on it. But I love it, and that's kind of like my 420 is just like dispensary hop, and I just
Yeah.
love it. And
I could do
yeah,
that by
just
myself. Actually, I do. When I was traveling for the Toro alerts, the financial app that I have that tells you when to buy and sell stocks and crypto, I'm touring all over, going to Chicago, New York, San Francisco, all these places for work. And I'm in a suit, and nice shoes, and I'm running around going to like 10 dispensaries. And my partner is like, hey man, I'm gonna be on stage in like 10 minutes. Where are you at? And I'm like sweating. I'm just coming from like my 13th dispensary, and I'm like, I'm almost there. So I take every opportunity I can when I travel. I'm gonna be going to San Jose to pitch to some investors looking for some private equity capital to get our business further off the ground. And I was just looking at dispensaries in San Jose today to kind of do a little dispensary tour. You can get a lot out of that, out of the culture, out of what the offerings are. New York was interesting. Going to a lot of the bodegas and sandwich ice cream trucks and the people on the street. Chicago, of course, you have your tablets like you do in Vegas. So it's just a good way to kind of see what people are doing and what the culture is, how they shop, what products are there. A lot of the same stuff, but yeah, it gives you a really good idea into kind of what people want or what they're at least offered. I want infused coffee, man. There are more Americans drink coffee than they drink water, and yet there is no infused coffee outside of Portland that I'm aware of. And I'm not talking about K cups or, that. I'm talking about like grab and go, drink your coffee is not available, which is odd. As soon as we have that, that's when the whole industry is normalized, and I can go home and stop uh, promoting cannabis. You just know it's normal. That's it. That's it
Once
for
it hits
me.
the coffee market,
Yeah.
you know it.
Yeah.
It'll be big time. Now, you had mentioned Vancouver, Canada. Have you ever been there?
Yeah, I'm only 3 hours away. So that's I bought my seeds when I first started growing in like 2010 or whatever. I went up and I was asking, what's the funkiest strain? And they were like Jean Guy, spelled Gene Guy. I was like, well, give me some of that Gene Guy. And then what was the other one? Damn, I can't remember, but like they were so pungent, like just knock you in your face, just delicious. And I remember buying these seeds, and my wife was like, she's not thinking anything of it. And I'm freaking out. And that was the only reason we went up there. We drove all the way up there, bought them, and came back same day. And normally we stay up there for like a day or two and hang out. I'm frugal and I hate shopping. I feel like I'm in a cattle going into slaughter when I go shopping. That's how bad it is. I'm buying the same thing a million other people have bought. Like there's nothing unique or interesting or cool about shopping for me. And so when I do it, I'm like, let's go to Vancouver. We get 30% off. Of course, we're going to go check out some dispensaries. So I was like, yeah, let's go up to the international district. It's the only place that's open right now. This is like 4 years ago before COVID shut the borders down for 3 years. So I go up into Chinatown and I check out this dispensary, and I see this strain I've never seen before. It was called weed. And I was like, what's that a cross of? Is that an indica or sativa? And he's like, man, weed is weed. It's like this, mid-30s white dude. And I was like, oh, okay. I'll take this other one over here. And I just like he literally put it in a sandwich bag and then licked it. And I was like, oh, this is the most authentic dispensary I've ever been in. This is phenomenal. This is a great experience. But I never went back because I felt like we were about to get murdered going through there. And that was before Hastings Street looks the way it is now. If you've been to Portland or any of these other cities that have been absolutely annihilated. I just saw a picture of Hastings that this dude took on a GoPro riding through the town on his bike up there, and it looks so bad. But it was like one of the sketchiest neighborhoods I've been through in a long time, like as bad as Skid Row, if not worse. And so I was like, I was feeling really guilty about like it was okay if I had to like fight my way out of there, but to bring my wife through there, I felt pretty guilty. So I think we may have cabbed it back. I can't remember. It's pretty bad.
So yeah, you want to hear? I go to Vancouver one year for I go to Whistler for a ski trip. I'll never forget the day. It was the Super Bowl for the Patriots and the Eagles, the first one,
Mhm.
and not the most recent one when the Patriots beat the Eagles back then. And so yeah, we actually fly out on Super Bowl Sunday, that Sunday, and we land in. We stay at the Vancouver Four Seasons. Now I travel with a buddy that's overseeing a Four Seasons in my area, so they fly them out there to check it out. And we're going to Whistler. The Whistler Four Seasons had only been open for 6 months, and we're staying there. That's where we're traveling to. We went skiing on the mountain for like a week. It was incredible. So we land in Vancouver and we're at the Four Seasons, and I'm like, yo, where do you get chronic around here? And the dude outside, like, that the parks the cars. He's like, yo, man, and it's late. He's like, dude, there's this one street called Hastings Street, but you got to be kind of careful. You don't want to be going down there right now. I'm like, where is it, buddy? It can't be that crazy. I'm like, I'm from Philly.
Mm.
I'm all right. I'm pretty street smart, but let me try this out. So my two buddies go upstairs. They pass out because we're drinking on the plane. It's a long day. I mean, we had to
Mhm.
take like 3 flights. It was crazy. So we get there, and then, like I said, we watched the Super Bowl. So after that, I go down the Hastings Street, and it's like closed, dude. There's just like all these homeless people just like
Mhm.
lined down the street. Now this is a pretty long time ago at the first that I don't remember what year that was, but so I go down there and like I'm just like walking around and people are just like looking at me and I'm like, yo, where the fuck you find chronic around here? And this dude's like, yo, come with me. And like you said, it's like the sketchiest thing. I'm like, dude, am I gonna like get killed? So I go into like this like little bar, and this fucking dude just like, how much you want, dude? And I'm like, I still have like American money. And back then our money was actually worth like a lot more than a Canadian. I remember we'd get like 120 to like the 100. So it was way better deal. And I'm like, look, I don't even have, I'm like, yo, all I have is American money. He's like, look, dude, I'll hook you up. He's like, here, you want like a whole ounce for $100? I'm like, what? And he just hands me this fucking bag like this, like an ounce. And it's banging like beasters back then, like some nice
Mhm.
ass nugs. And I'm like, fuck, dude, this works for me. So I give him the $100. And the dude tells me, he's like, yo, you better be fucking careful out of here. It's not exactly the safest area. He's like, yo, bang a left and get out of here. So I
Mhm.
walk out, like there's all these homeless people like rah, like screaming at me, and
Mhm.
I'm just like, I just like take off running back to the Four Seasons, and I get back, and the dude's just like looking at me like, he's like, dude, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I just met up with some dude, and it was a crazy street, but I'm all good. And he's just looking at me like, dude, you must be one crazy guy. So I go back up to the room, and I tell my buddies, I'm like, yo, dude, look what I just got. And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, where the heck did you go? And so I was telling them. So then during the daytime, like we go down, I'm like, yeah, we gotta go check out this street. I didn't know anything of it that night. Like I had no idea it was everything was closed. So we go down there and there's like legitimate like smoke shops. Like you
Mhm.
can go in and smoke cannabis, but you can't smoke cigarettes. They actually, I'll never forget, they had like a glass room inside with like an exhaust
Yeah,
system, and you'd have to go in there if you wanted to smoke an actual
that's
cigarette
the
or
New
cigar.
Amsterdam Cafe.
That's exactly what it was. Yep.
It's
You
across
get
the
it.
street from the Bulldog Cafe, which is owned by the Hells Angels, and it's right next to Mark Emery's Cannabis Culture Lounge as
So
well.
you know, so right next to the New Amsterdam Damn Cafe, right literally you walk out that door, and as soon as you like go like two steps, you open up another door and you go up these steps and you go
Mhm.
up, and literally a dude's just sitting there with a fucking scale and like a pound of weed sitting on a table. And you just walk in and he's like, how much you want? And you're like, I don't know, like 40, $50. He's like, give me 80 and I'll just really hook you up. And I mean, dude just like grabs a handful and throws it on a scale. Doesn't he? He looks at it, he's like, ah, that's cool. It's like, I'm like, dude, that's like crazy amount. Like, good price for me. So we literally go back down to the cafe right next door and smoke like an ounce in a day. Like
Mhm.
just start rolling these entire big joints the size of the table. We're just licking like papers together, just being stupid because we have all this kind of like all this chronic and just didn't even matter. And yeah, that place was amazing. And that was way before like anything in the US
It's
was
also before
legal.
Mark Emery got nailed because he can't do that anymore. So he sells $5 joints still and $5 dabs, and he's got dab rigs everywhere. They got a cool vending machine that I took some video of.
Nice.
That you can buy some stuff in the vending machine. But I think Whistler would be pretty dope. It reminds me a lot of Europe because it's a lot of the clubs are super small up there, and
Mhm.
Whistler Village is kind of neat,
It
but
is a very cool place.
it's small, and I could see a ton of activity to have cannabis cafes up in there because they have like a BMX competition in the summer and the outdoor beer garden. When I went snowboarding in the spring, I came down and ran into a bear, and we had to take our snowboards off and hike up and over and out of the bear's way. And it was just kicking it, like so there's a lot of things to do up there, and you definitely want to be have your head on a swivel. But it's a cool town. I like it a lot, and there's a lot to offer. Not just like good cannabis, but the lakes and the hiking and the opportunities for cannabis cafes. Because at 2 o'clock, those bars open up and just streams of kids and every like drunk people everywhere, and not enough munchy establishments to satisfy everybody's needs at that time of hour, but you can have some cafes too, and you can kind of maybe balance out that the craziness because you get the like British and Australians love to they'll just get wasted. Just put it the way
Yeah,
it
they
is.
love to
They love to
party.
get wasted. Yeah, they love to party. So maybe I don't know, add a little bit more mellow Amsterdam in there and chill it out a little bit. But it's a cool spot. I'm gonna be digging how they open that up. Um, It'll probably be a lot sooner than Seattle. I've always thought that the vibe here would be kind of cool. Just all the water, mountain, oceans, lakes, the outdoorness. We just recently, by recent, like in 10 years, started getting rooftop bars and establishments like they got in Cali and normal places. Maybe that's like, you know, global warming or whatever. But I'll take it. It's been nice having more than 60 days of nice weather. So when that pops off, that'll be a great opportunity. But you'll still get the same people that have issues with the smell, the cigar bar, and maybe the New Amsterdam Cafe, where that concept where they did have that glass enclosure in the corner with the crazy
Yup.
exhaust system, everything that worked really well. Everyone could see there was no nefarious stuff. I did see a dude come in with a triple beam scale. Kids, it's non-digital. It's like 2 feet long. It weighs a lot and it's not discreet at all. And this dude straight up rolled in there, opened up his triple beam, and straight up tried to. And the guys were like, "You got to get out. What are you doing? Get out." And he got kicked out. But it was amazing to watch. It was awesome.
That's pretty hilarious. Yeah, and that was like the first time I ever seen cannabis shops or anything. Back then, they had like seed stores and they actually had all the equipment. So, like I said, if you were looking at New Amsterdam Cafe, right to the left, that door, it was basically you go up the steps and buy Chronic. And
Mhm.
then if you look right to the right, it was a huge store with all the growing equipment and seeds and anything you wanted. And yeah, I remember I spent like we spent a couple days in Vancouver. Most of our time was in Whistler, but yeah, while I was in Vancouver, I was on Hastings Street. But
Oh yeah.
Vancouver used to be it's a very beautiful city. I don't know what it looks like. Like I said, there was a lot of homeless back then, but it was very clean. But I can only imagine, the amount that's no, I mean, if they keep it clean, it's still clean, but it was still, like I said, I walked down that street at night and it wasn't exactly a safe place you wanted to be. I was
Yeah.
pretty glad I'm street smart and I look at everybody and just give them that nod and say hi. And they just kind of look at you like, this guy might be crazier than me. So
Yeah. Right.
I might not approach him,
Yeah.
but that's the way you got to act when you're doing something like that.
Totally. Yeah, I was gonna go up there like last month or something, and then I got a hotel and there was like this investment conference, and for some reason, like I just wasn't feeling it. It's like I don't want to drive 3 hours. Forget it. I'm not going. So I ended up not going. But yeah, Vancouver is definitely a lot more gritty than it used to be in its pockets. So like the waterfront where the convention center is at is decent, is nice. The shopping district is going to be a little bit more gritty than anyone expected 3 years ago. And then, man, international districts and Hastings is well, yeah, Hastings is still part of shopping, goes all the way down there, but it's a lot grittier than it used to be. They're going to try and clean that up, but it's going to take a while. Businesses, man, I was just in the international district for the Cherry Blossom Festival in Seattle, and I was kind of surprised by how many buildings were shut down there. Like maybe they should overturn that felony, allow for some cannabis cafes to drive some business in there because it was looking pretty nasty. I saw, no joke, after taking the exit off Dearborn to get to International, I saw two people doing drugs, and then walking around with my wife, there was a third guy smoking meth or whatever you use Reynolds wrap in a lighter for. Um,
Usually not chronic.
Yeah, it wasn't weed, I can tell you that. So, and there was literally a cop in a car right there, and he didn't see him or didn't care.
He
Didn't,
didn't
yeah,
care. It
didn't
wasn't worth
matter.
his time.
Yeah, yeah. So I think like we can really kind of not have to board up an entire city block building and board it up. Why can't we turn that into a cannabis friendly hotel or some kind of establishment where you have mixed use. Maybe you have a cannabis co-working space up above and then a cannabis cafe down below. Like offer it instead of boarding it up and making it a blight to where people are doing drugs all over. It's pretty nasty. I think we can use cannabis, the revenue, the community, the culture, and the care that people bring to empower a city, empower the people, and preserve some of that culture. Because some of these areas, man, like King County, where I'm at in Seattle, has a mass exodus. It's not as bad as California when you look at people where they're leaving. there's like droves of people leaving out of these areas, and they all seem to be going towards either warmer climates or less crazy climates. Interpret that however you want. And it's I love Seattle, man. I was raised here, but like, damn, how much of this crazy stuff can you take before you're like, I'm just gonna go somewhere else that accepts it, like Vegas. I get warmer weather, better taxes, and they allow cannabis cafes and everything else. Why am I gonna stick around Seattle? I love it all 60 days of the year where it's nice, but at some point I'm like, this is insane. Like, I'm okay. I'll tell you this. I'm right by the SeaTac airport. I've had more people knock on my door asking for food and money. I made a homeless dude dinner or lunch one time. I felt bad for him. I've had more homeless people in a year that I've been at this house than I've had trick-or-treaters in a decade.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy, dude.
I've had less than three people knock on my door in 12 years. I've had three kids knock on my door in 12 years. And in the last 12 months, I've had three homeless people.
That's crazy. That's
So
pretty crazy.
it is, man. But like, what can we do with the cannabis revenue? Right. Like finally I got a thing to vote on raising taxes in order to provide the kind of mental social stability required, healthcare, right? Healthcare. And why do we need to raise taxes? Why can't we just overturn that felony? That is the tax system that could solve this health problem. I even put in my own bill that I spent years writing, researching dozens and dozens, well, not dozens, but like 12 or 13 bills to figure out what the best way to implement mine for Washington State. And a lot of that was, okay, we're not going to do what California's doing and offer a safe injection heroin site, but we could, okay, because they wanted to charge King County wanted to charge $100,000 a month to offer a safe injection site. If you're going to be that insane, let's at least overturn the felony, allow for a cannabis cafe, and then you can do your whatever you're doing in the back. Do not charge these taxpayers when you could do it for free. And that's kind of like, I'm like, you guys are insane. What are we doing here? Um, so I got a big problem with the way that some of these cities are handling their cannabis laws. It doesn't seem to be rational or logic at all. But I still see the benefit of it. I'm actually stepping down as the head of the committee to do it because I have lost my patience, and you have to have a certain level of professionalism, and foaming at the mouth is not working for, and that's all I can do at this point is just froth and get pissed off. So I'm like, I'm out. You guys want to put all this crazy shit in this bill? I'm out. Cancel my membership. Peace out.
It just gets out of control, like you said. It's just like,
But you need fresh blood. I've been waiting for 10 years. Since 2015, I've been on this committee, either as a subcommittee member or chairman of the committee. And I've spent countless hours. And when you don't get anywhere, it's like, okay, do I just do this on my own, or should I just pass the buck and just let it go? And I'm just going to pass the buck and let it go. Because it's going to happen eventually. I wish I would have just gone off on my own and not got tied into a group that had their own motives. So it's important to be part of a cannabis committee and coalition and group with lobbyists, but they have their own agenda too. And there's a lot of messed up things in every single state, especially when it's regulated. Medical, you can pretty much do what you want. And once you get more regulated, you get more issues, and then you get more groups with more of their own personal agendas. And it's really annoying, as a matter of fact, when all these individuals kind of come in and then they join the committees because they want their own agenda. And then once stuff passes, and they go away. Like, whoa, really? Okay, that's cool. And I see that a lot, unfortunately.
no, it is very annoying because again, you're on there for years and years. You really care about the the industry, the plant, the people involved, and then you get a bunch of lobbyists with money and they pat somebody's pocket and they get done what they need to do and then they just disappear. You never see them again, and
Mm-hmm.
you're like, what the hell just happened? I can't get
Mm-hmm.
anything done. These
Mm-hmm.
idiots walk in for 3 minutes, they know nothing about the industry, and somehow it got it done. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
So
called.
I wish Missouri all the best. Enjoy it while you can. Push the
Mhm.
laws. Don't settle for second best. Look at the Petri dish experiment out here and do it the right way. That's my advice.
I'm with you with that. Yeah, just push the limits as much as you can, as early as you can. Don't sit back and wait for any stupid regulations because they just don't know what they're doing. They have no idea. And yeah, the people making the choices just don't know the industry. They don't know the plant. They don't care. It's all about who's patting their pockets and politics. Unfortunately, we're in an industry that's just gets seesawed between politics, and then you're just in the middle of it trying to run a business, and
Mhm.
you get destroyed somehow.
Yeah.
And it's not exactly fun. But Missouri, you guys get it right and make the rest of the country get it right, because it looks like that one festival and event is starting off nice, and I can't wait to see that 420 event.
Yeah.
So
It'd be
thank you,
good.
Brandon, again for all the great footage that you gave us.
Yeah, all good stuff with 420 coming up. Should be exciting to see. And yeah, best of luck to the cannabis cafes. Should be awesome. So whole new world of weed out there. Use it responsibly, as Jimmy would say. And we'll see you guys all later.
Coming up on We Talk News this week.
With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out.
Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.